I was going over the names of guests on the online invitation, and I could only recognize a few familiar names, so I suppose not too many people know me. So let me tell you, the guy whose birthday we're celebrating tonight, I was the one who brought him here to Canada. This is about a little trip Henny and I took, a trip of a lifetime, one that will never be repeated. The year was 1974. Henny and I have worked together in San Miguel for several years in the Systems and Programming Department that we call now IT department. This little trip actually started on the fourth floor of the Philippine Airlines building, where the Canadian Embassy was. At that time, the San Miguel Systems and Programming Group will occupy the 8th and 9th floors of the building. I remember every time we took the elevators, almost always, the elevator would stop on the fourth floor. And we would see people with immigration application forms. With such a temptation, San Miguel lost 18 IT people to Canada within a span of 1 year, including the two of us. So here we are at the airport, Henny and I, in our 20s, very confident of our 32K mainframe computer experience and our education, no relatives in Canada, wearing our printed flared pants and leaving the Philippines for the first time. In a few days, we would be labeled fresh off the boat in Canada. It was time to say goodbye. Henny's family was in one group and nearby my family in another group. My mother, who was very worried about me, and who saw Henny for the first time, approached him and asked him if he could look after me. Henny still had lots of hair at the time, curly too, and with his black-rimmed eyeglasses, my mother thought he was much older than me. I wonder what my mom will say if she saw Henny today. So off we went. On the plane, we were greeted by lots of beautiful women. Very beautiful women. They were among the passengers. And no, they didn't say hello to us. They were the contestants of the recently concluded Miss Universe pageant. All I remember was I had to constantly remind Henny not to look too long. Our first stop was Tokyo, and somehow something went wrong with flight connection, so we had to stay a day in Tokyo, but we were treated to a day tour of the city. And Henny and I marveled at the cleanliness and beauty of Tokyo, just knowing only Manila. I remember we got to see the Budokan Hall. And the beautiful women, they didn't have to stay. They went ahead of us to South America. So July 28, 1974 was our date of entry in Victoria, BC. That's almost 45 years ago. Then on to Toronto. It was late at night when we landed, and from the airport, we took a cab to Juliet's apartment on Jameson Avenue. Juliet Santos, she's there. Was an ex-SMC IT employee who had offered to accommodate Henny and I when we got to Toronto. So now we're at the lobby of Juliet's apartment building, and there was nobody around. Henny pulled out Juliet's address from his pocket. We looked at the panel of apartment numbers at the lobby, but we couldn't figure out how to use the panel. So here, two supposedly highly technical people can't figure out how to use an intercom system. a little panic set in. We had to call the cab driver to help us. So with the help of the cab driver, we were able to call Juliet, who made us feel, after that long flight, a very warming welcome to a new home. Thank you, Juliet. Juliet was a little younger than us and was still a bachelor at the time, working and was living on her own. She educated us on everything we needed to know about Toronto. She accommodated us at her apartment, taught us how to get around. So now it's time to look for a job. For convenience, I would say it's more like a sacrifice. She stayed at her sister's place at night. During the day, though, she would check up on us and cook before leaving. Juliet cooked very well. I remember kare-kare, the best.
Oh, really?
Juliet was a big part of this little trip. It didn't take long for Henny to find a job. I remember Michael Helvey of Quantum, Canada Wire and Cable, and after 2 weeks. And I found mine the week after. So now it's time to look for an apartment for each of us. And for another couple of weeks under Juliet's care, we did. It's now 2019 and 45 years have gone by. Who would have guessed that that little trip would take us to the life we live today? Mm-hmm. Happy birthday, Henny. We look forward to your next milestone, and perhaps your next little trip.